Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. I'm Liz, and thank you for joining me for my second episode of Friday Night Finishing. Hi. Oh, it looks like there's already some people here in the chat. Hey, Rhonda, Elizabeth, Patty, Miriam, Kathy. Hi, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. I am filming with my laptop computer, and then I am filming overhead with my phone so that I can include a little sped up video in Sunday's video. So if you're seeing my phone in this light, that's what I'm doing over here on this side. Hey, Lori. Hi, Ashley, Joan. Hello, hello. So let me show you what I'm going to be finishing tonight. So I stitched some of the charts from the Prairie Schooler Prairie Birds. And I had previously finished last year this little prairie bird using a little wooden frame from Hobby Lobby. And I knew I wanted to do 2 more and have a set of 3. So I went and bought 2 more of the frames. This is what they look like without any stitching in them. They were in the fall section. Oh, hi. There's a bunch more of you joining. Oh, thank you. I did get a haircut in color today. So if you're noticing, I don't have, 8 extra inches of scraggly hair. I cut it all off. It needed it. It hadn't been cut in a year. So here are the 2 other birds that I'm finishing tonight. These 2 little cardinals. I'm assuming they're cardinals. I don't know that much about birds. And this little set of bluebirds and their birdhouse. I did not leave myself a very big margin, but that's okay. I'm going to be able to work with it. Thanks, Kathy. Hey, guys. Yeah, so if you have questions about supplies I'm using, I did put a supply list in the description box of everything I anticipate using tonight. And I included a link to the chart if you're interested in the chart, and I included my floss conversion. I stitched these on a 32 count gray zweigart. I can't remember the exact color name, but it's just a gray zweigart linen. And I changed all of the DMC to overdyes. So I put my floss conversion in the description box. If you want to check there, you can find that. So, okay, I want to catch up on the chat. Hi. Oh, thank you. I'm glad everyone enjoys the haircut. I enjoy the haircut. I feel so fresh and so clean. It had been so long. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to cut foam board for the backing and kind of to inset into the little frame. And then we're going to mount the cross stitch on a piece of mat board with some batting and tie a ribbon. This is a super, super simple finish. And these little decorations came with a little twine hanger, which is just perfect because what I eventually would love to do is use one of those like decorative branches and kind of hang these in some way. I haven't found like a decorative branch that I like. So my current plan is just to hang these on the wall near my front door using like little clear push pins. It's kind of my favorite go-to hanging tool is a clear push pin. Oh, thank you, Kathleen. She says it's cardinal. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know nothing about birds, but I love to stitch them. Okay, so let me tilt you guys down so you can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to get started finishing. Okay. Well, let's see. Let me try and, oh, I think you can kind of see. Okay, cool. So I have this piece of like 1/4 inch or 3/4 inch foam board, and I am going to measure the inside of this little frame and see what I need to cut out. So it's 4 by 4. And so I'm going to cut the foam board just a hair smaller than 4x4 because I want it to wedge in there once it's covered in fabric. I'm not going to secure the foam board in the frame. I'm just going to push it in. So I'm going to cut it pretty exact. Hi. Sorry I can't keep up with the chat. Okay, but that's okay. I'm just going to work on this and then I'll come back to the chat as I can. All right, so I know I need 2 of these, so all these steps I'm just going to do twice. So let's see. So I'm just using my quilting ruler to cut a strip of 4-inch wide foam board, and then I'll cut it down into the 2 pieces I need. And again, I just use a rotary cutter for cutting paper products. I just make sure I use a different one from my fabric blade. Same thing as having fabric scissors and everything else scissors. Okay, so here is my 4-inch strip, and I'm going to cut this down into 2 4-inch squares. Oops, I think I cut that a little wonky. Yeah, it's okay. So let's see if it fits or it's kind of big. It's a little big on the side. Oh no, did I get it stuck? Hi guys, watching from Guatemala. Cool. Hello. I didn't anticipate getting things stuck. Let's see. What do I have? I have a seam ripper. Let's see if I can use that. Okay, and so it's this side that's too wide. So let me cut this down. Okay, let's see. Okay, perfect. So I got this one the right size. And so just in case these are differences, I'm going to put this kind of in this one so I know this is size to fit that little box. Okay, so now let me get this one going. I hope everybody's having a good Friday night. Does anybody have any fun, exciting weekend plans? Rob and I went to the movies for the first time last Friday night, which was so much fun. Our movie theaters here serve, there's a chain called the Alamo Draft House here that serves food and alcohol, and it's like a restaurant movie theater. And so it was like the first time we've been to a restaurant and a movie theater all at once, and it was so great. So it was really fun last weekend. Okay, cool. So those fit. And so then for the foam board, I'm not going to put any batting on the foam board. I'm just going to cover them in fabric. And this is one of my absolute favorite fabrics that you can't get anymore, and I wish you could. It's from Cotton and Steel a few years ago. It's called Sprinkle, and it's just like the prettiest kind of tealy turquoise. Okay. So normally I like to use a spray glue if I'm just gluing something completely flat like this, but I don't want to step away and do spray glue. So I'm going to use my Aleen's tacky glue, which if you guys notice, I'm keeping it upside down in a cup. Aren't you proud of me? I wish I could keep up with the chat, but it's so hard to read at this angle. But I'll lift y'all back up and catch up with the chat in a minute. So I am just gluing the sides of the fabric down, and then I'll do the top and bottom. Knit, eat, and repeat. Is that what? I like those weekend plans. Mine is stitch, eat, and repeat. And watch some shows. We have the new Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier, so it's called, on Disney Plus that we're going to watch after this. That'll be fun. Okay. Just doing a light layer of glue. This fabric is thin. It doesn't need a lot of glue. Still on lockdown. Oh no, where are you at that it's still on lockdown? Well, I guess, Kathleen, you told me Canada's still on lockdown too, kind of, huh, right? So I guess there are places. This really, I'm not going for super pretty because all of these edges in the bottom of this will be tucked into the frame. So this is just for getting these edges down. I still want my corners to look okay though, so I'll fuss with them a little bit. I just use my fingers to press really hard where there's multiple layers so that the glue soaks in through all of the layers of fabric. Oh, thank you. Luna, oh my God, that was so funny that you said the after was a chocolate granola bar ad. Oh my gosh. Okay. The thing that freaks me out about the Instagram ads is like when you're just literally thinking about something and then you get on Instagram and there's an ad for it. Hey, Evelyn. Oh my gosh. It's like so late for you. Thanks for joining. I'm a night owl too. In what state do I live? So I am in Texas. I am in Cedar Park, which is just north of Austin by like 2 minutes. So basically Austin, but it's just a suburb called Cedar Park. And I was able to get my vaccine and get my second shot very recently. So yeah, I'm starting to kind of go back out into the world a little bit, which has been really nice. So finally got my hair did, which was amazing. And I took today off of work so I could go spend hours at the salon and do a little shopping and get lunch with Rob. And yeah, today was nice. And I did some quilting. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I posted about, I was working on my quilt blocks for my king size quilt today, which was way fun. I really want to get that one finished like as soon as possible, like for the summer. I want that quilt on our bed as soon as I can finish it. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully it's not too boring that I'm doing double of everything because I have 2 of these to finish. Maybe I could have just finished one live and do the other one later, but I don't know. Sorry, you're just getting double dose of everything. I'm doing all the steps twice. I saw somebody say something earlier about being intimidated by finishing, and really, I mean, yeah, I was too before I started. I just got on YouTube, and looked at a bunch of tutorials and kind of applied skills I already have in terms of quilting because I, already quilted and knew, was really comfortable using like these acrylic rulers and cutters. And so I just kind of like applied that to paper craft. It's not paper craft, but you know, like non-sewing crafts, but you know, where you still need to be kind of precise. So I think even though all these tools I use are for quilting, I think they're really useful for finishing. And really it's just about practicing and trying things and seeing what you like. And if you're like, oh, I'm not good at doing this certain thing, but I feel like I'm good at doing this, then, you know, do what you're good at. Use your skills to your advantage. Hello from Saskatchewan. Hello, hello. I once met a bagpiper from Saskatchewan when I was visiting Montreal. There was a bagpiping convention in Montreal when I was there, and some guy I met at a bar was a bagpiper from Saskatchewan who was in town, which I don't know. That's what pops into my head when somebody says Saskatchewan. Oh man. Okay. So I've got my two little foam boards all covered in fabric, and I am going to set them aside to dry while I work on my mat board. But first, I'm going to set this up for a second and see if I can say hi to everybody. Hi from Detroit. Hi, Linda. Hi, Jan. Yeah, so what's everybody up to? Stitching and watching me. Okay, so we covered our board, and now we're going to mount the stitching on mat board. So this will be very similar to what we did last week or 2 weeks ago with the hip hop. I am going to cut a 4-inch strip. No, not 4-inch. Don't listen to me. This is what happens when I do it live. I'm just going to say the wrong thing. You were born near Montreal. Thank you, Evelyn. Yeah, it needed a cut. I took 5 inches off, if you can believe it. It was like down here. So yeah, it feels so short, even though this is about the shortest I go, but it's usually right about here. But yeah, I just took 5 inches off because it was like completely dead on the ends. Okay, so let's figure out how big to cut my mat board. And I'm going to measure the one I've already done. And let's see. Here, let me tilt you guys back down. Okay. So it looks like I did 3 1/4 inches. Let me make sure 3 1/4 works with these. I don't think they're all the exact same size. 3 1/4. Yes, that works. Okay. And will 3 1/4 work here? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to do 3 1/4 inches on the mat board. And this is, I call this mat board, but what this actually is Canson brand art board, A-R-T, art board that you can get at Hobby Lobby. I think it's the same thickness as like a mat board. It's just, I think they do like comic panels, like people, like artists use it for drawing and different mediums. So anyways, that's what I use for my mat board. I think it's like 20 by 30 sheet for $3 or $4. So that's what I buy at Hobby Lobby. Okay. 3 1/4. Let me see if I can get this in the right spot. let's see. Sometimes I don't, like I try not to overcut so that I can use these other pieces, but then sometimes I don't fully release these. Let's see. There we go. You got one of them. Okay. So this one I have like a weird little curve in. So let me see if I can trim that up. Okay. Hi, Bunny. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Jeannie. Okay, so now I've got these. I'm going to attach them to some batting. All right, let's see. Oh, I feel so boring tonight. I wish I had some funny stories to tell you guys. I feel like nothing has happened this week. Can't tell which side of this is right side up. Okay. Let's see. All right, so now I'm going to bust out the tacky glue again and get some batting on this mat board. And normally I would use my spray glue, but I don't want to spray it in here. So I'm just going to use the tacky glue. But the spray glue is so quick and easy. My craft room is right by the front door of my house. And so I just walk out the front door, spray it, and come back in. Okay. So I'm not being very precise with this. This is just to hold the batting on, and then we're going to attach our cross stitch, which will hold everything together. Oh, working on Stitchy Stars. Cool. Funny story about Stitchy Stars. I made that Instagram post about how I had started too close to the edge and I didn't leave myself a good margin. And so I kind of had to flip my piece and work vertically rather than horizontally. And I brought all the stuff in here to my sewing room to make those little stories and to like cut my fabric down and anyways to measure stuff. But ever since I did that, I have lost and cannot find my flosses for that project. So I have not worked on that project all week since, I guess, Monday when I posted those stories, because I have no idea what I did with the floss. And like this room is like a 10 by 11. It's not big. I have no clue. I feel like maybe I just put them in a random project bag and I just haven't found it yet. But yeah, that's really cool. So I have not been working on my Stitchy Stars because I don't know where the floss is. Okay. All right, so I just use 100% cotton batting in my quilts, and so any scraps I have, I save in a very lovely pile on the bottom shelf, and that's what I use for my cross stitch finishing. So now I've got my pieces of 3 1/4 inch mat board with a layer of batting on them, and so now we're going to mount our finished cross stitch. And so if I was being really precise, let me see. I would use my air erase, my air erase marker. Oh, the right side of the batting. So batting is needled. Um, it's formed by a bunch of tiny needles shoving the fibers into place. And so the right side is smoother, and then the wrong side, you can feel little bumps from the needling. And so I like the softer side up with the little bumps down. I don't think you can really tell the right side and wrong side on polyester batting. I think it's just a cotton batting thing. And it's like a cheaper cotton batting thing. This is warm and natural that you can get at like Joann's and Hobby Lobby, which is a lovely batting, but it is a little bit cheaper. And I think it's called Scrim, Scrim. I think there's like a little bit more scrim or like the kind of bumps, but it's really not that big a deal. I just thought I was feeling the bumps on both sides, but this is the wrong side. I can feel them more prominently. So anyways, that's how you tell the right and wrong side of batting. Okay, so let's see here. So we're doing 3 1/4. So I'm just gonna kind of center 3 1/4 over my cross stitch. And I'm using this air erase pen. So don't be alarmed. These lines will go away, even though they'll be covered up anyways, but I'm not ruining my fabric. I promise. Okay, so now you can see, I think, yeah, that I've got my little line around my piece so that I know where to center my mat board and batting. If you wanted to be super, super duper precise, you could literally count over linen threads and mark it that way. But for this little small, and there's not even really any harsh straight lines, I am just going to eyeball center it and just go with it because I think it's going to look great. So I'm not being super precise like I would be if I was framing something. How thick is the batting? It is really thin. So, I mean, like maybe a 16th, of an inch. It's real thin. I have some thicker batting down there, and I avoid it when I'm doing like small finishes because I don't want it super thick. I just like a nice light layer for the threads to kind of sink into. Rather than just using something completely flat where if there's any lumps or bumps on the back, they'll show through on the front. I feel like the batting kind of helps mask any weirdness on the back of your cross stitch. Not that I would have anything weird on the back of my cross stitch. My cross stitch is perfect. Just kidding. It's not. And so I use batting to kind of help mask some of that stuff if I have anything weird. And I am going to cut this down just slightly. That's a lot of excess for a small piece. And I'm going to start gluing. Okay, and so I've kind of got it tacked down. And so I'm going to flip over and look and see how my margins are looking. And everything's looking really good. Yay. Okay, cool. So I'm happy with where it's glued. And so I'm going to work on the sides. This glue really doesn't want to come out very well. I feel like this is constantly my problem. Glue problems. And this is what y'all don't see when I'm doing this alone and then edit it down and make it look nice. It's me dealing with my glue bottle. There we go. I think I got a clog out. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm tucking my corners and pulling tight and just using my fingers to really press the fabric layers together to get all of that glue soaked in. And I have a little wet rag over here to unglue my fingers. Oh yeah, I have heard that that people will use black batting underneath like some of the chalkboard pieces. But to be honest, like last week when I did my hip hop, I just used natural color batting under it, and you can't really see, or I don't think you could see at all. So, but yeah, they do sell that black batting. I think a lot of quilters like that for, darker colored quilts as well. Okay, yes, I really got this unclogged. This is great. I'm so excited about my glue. Oh, yay, you're starting Stitchy Stars. I know. Rob has actually been out of work since the start of the pandemic because he worked at a restaurant that shut down. And then with me working at home, like I just didn't want him working outside the house. And I was fine to kind of like carry our load or whatever. But yeah, I've like joked with him that he needs to become my YouTube assistant. We'll see if he's into that. But right now he is in the other room playing video games and waiting for me to get done so that we can watch our Friday night TV shows. But yeah, I know I should make him come in here and read me questions. That's a really good idea. Okay, so here's our first little piece of mounted cross stitch. And I think Kathleen confirmed for us these are cardinals, right? So freaking cute. Okay, so I'm gonna set that off to the side and let it dry. And we're gonna work on the little bluebirds and their birdhouse, where I left myself like no margin. Oops. Okay. Okay, yeah, I got it centered. Flip it. And let's see. Oops, it got all twisted. I have used sticky board, but I actually don't find it that easy to work with, if I'm being honest. In some applications, I think it's easier, but I just prefer plain old mat board and glue. And also, I can get the mat board and glue very easily at my Hobby Lobby. My Hobby Lobby doesn't ever have in stock sticky board. So I just find it easier to just work with mat board, and then I glue on the back. So I don't put any adhesive underneath my stitches. So if I ever want to take apart my finishes, I can. And actually I had to do that recently because there was a tragedy, and I had a Christmas piece laying face up on the dining room table because I was putting stuff away, and my cat stepped onto the cross stitch and snagged it with her paw. Whew. How that cat is still alive, don't ask. I was so mad. But anyways, I had to take it apart. And I had mounted that one on a board before framing it rather than pinning it, because it was one of the earlier ones I'd framed. And I was able to take it apart and salvage the fabric, like, an inch margin so I can reframe it. because I was able to basically fix the snags and restitch what got messed up. So I just haven't, it's a Christmas piece. So I don't know why I haven't brought that up on FlossTube, but it's something that happened a little while ago. And yeah. Okay. So let's get all of this centered. And let me glue down my little tiny side here. How close to your stitching? Oh yeah. So really with these pieces, it was kind of about what would fit. So the way I decide my size is I have this frame, and so I want this to fit inside of it, and I want the bird to be mounted on top. So I want to leave a border for the fabric, so I knew I didn't want it too big. And then my stitching is about 3 inches by 3 inches, so I just left 1/8 of an inch, almost 1/4 of an inch, all the way around. I like a pretty tight, like I don't like a lot of margin, you know, I like it to be pretty close to the edges. So really what I do is I use these clear rulers to lay it down on top of my stitching and look at it underneath the grid lines and see like what size makes sense. And that's why, so I was talking to Kathleen the other night, Situation Normal, who was in the chat earlier. She and I were discussing quilting supplies because she wants to start doing more finishing. And I was recommending this size ruler to her, which is a 12.5 by 12.5 inch square ruler, because I like to lay this down on my stitching and I can see exactly, you know, all dimensions at once. If it's a small, obviously if it's a bigger piece, you know, you'll need a bigger ruler, but this works so great for smalls to lay down and see exactly how big your piece is and how big you want to leave a margin. So I recommend this. Okay, so let me glue this. For the frame, I can put it in the description box too, but I'll leave this here for a second if you want to screenshot that little tag. You know what? I bought a friction pin at my quilt store, my local quilt store, like months ago, and I think it's just in this drawer next to me. I just haven't used it and tried it yet. They're the heat erase, right? Like I know everybody loves them, but I haven't ever tried it actually, but I do have one. I just really love, this is Sew Line air erasing. This is kind of my go-to. Okay, just gluing down my teeny tiny little margin that I left myself. And then let me trim down this one. Okay, so let me flip it over. Oh, nope. That doesn't look good. Okay. I had it too close to the top. So since I use the Aleens, I have a little bit of time to move stuff around. It's not instantly glued. So I am just sliding my fingers on the back of the piece to move the fabric down so that there's a better margin on top and bottom. And then side to side, looks like it's going to be good. Yeah, I think this one's so cute. I love these little prairie schooler charts. When I bought this one and started, the hummingbird was the first one I stitched that I fell in love with. And I had just recently, I think when I started this, gotten really into fancy floss. And that's why I did a color conversion to all fancy floss, just because I loved it. And I had a bunch of colors that I wanted to use. So I'm looking at this and I think I forgot to stitch the eye. I always leave a stitch off, you guys. Yeah, I forgot to stitch his eye. There's just a blank square in there. I'll consult the chart in a minute, but I'm pretty sure I forgot to stitch it. Let's see. Oh no, it's a blank square. Never mind. I stitched it all. I'm the worst about that. Oops, I let the glue sit sideways too long. Come on now. Oh, the friction pin? That's how easy it is? I really need to try it. Okay. Yeah, I bought one because I'd heard, they were all the rage. But I have not tried it. I know, it's always so scary to mark on your fabric, and you're like, I hope this comes off. This pen is great because if you use a super light touch, it'll literally erase like in the air in like 10 minutes. And if you use a heavy hand with it, it'll take like an hour. So it gives you a lot of playtime, before it erases. Or it can be really quick if you just use a super light mark with it. Okay. Try and make that corner look a little bit nicer. Okay, just hold my fingers in place, and I'm just going to flip this over and check my margins and kind of adjust. And then look at that, we have our little bluebirds mounted. Oh, wow, you're working on your modern folk embroidery? Oh, you got it gridded. Oh, that's awesome. I've never done gridding. I think my sister did, Lynn, who has done some full coverage stuff. I think she's used it like actually, I think she might have used like the pre-gridded fabric. I'm not sure if she gridded it herself or not. I don't know. Mel, I wish you were on here. But she's probably asleep right now. What time is it in Dubai? It's probably like 7 a.m., 6 a.m. So yeah, she's not on. Okay, so now oops, I dropped a pen. We've got our foam board and we've got our birds. And then we have our frames that we're going to put everything in. So first step is I am going to glue the mounted cross stitch to our foam board. And I'm not going to be super precise with this. I don't know. For some reason, when I do smalls, I just go wild. I'm not super, I guess I'm precise. I'm measuring things, but I don't go as overboard as I go when I'm like framing something that's bigger or with like a super straight border that I'm like trying to make look really nice. So with this, all I'm going to do is get glue all over it and then just eyeball center it and push it down on this foam board. I'm just going to get glue all over, especially on the high points. So where you have folded over your fabric into the corners, really make sure you get glue up on those high spots because that's like the point that's going to make the most contact with the fabric. Okay, so I'm going to just put this on my grid lines and just eyeball this and press. Okay, and so then what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to take a sip first. And I'm going to set my giant heavy water cup on that one. And I'm going to raise you guys up. Hello, my face. It's here again, and I can read the comments. Oh, good. Another vote for the friction pens. Yeah. If you get an empty, yes. So I did get a cup for my glue after last video when I was chastised gently. But sometimes out of habit, I just let it sit on the table next to me and then don't put it back in here. How long does tacky glue take to dry? I am going to say about 30 seconds for like 75% adhesion. Like it's solidly on there and not going anywhere unless you mess with it. But I'm going to say probably maybe like 10 minutes for like full 100% adhesion. So that's why I like it, because you have some wiggle room with it, you know? Okay. So while I am sitting here catching up on the chat, I am going to glue the other one down onto the foam board using the same process. Happy Friday. Oh, hi, Piper. I shut my craft room door so none of my cats could come say hi, because that would just be annoying. They'd want pets and I would not be available to give them. Diego's favorite thing to do is come in here while I'm crafting and beg for my attention and force me to pet him, and then roll over and demand belly rubs, and then immediately get mad that I'm touching his stomach and scratch me and then run away. That's his favorite game. It's just called Torture Liz. Does anybody else's cat do that? Beg and cry and force you to pet them and then get super mad when you pet them in some imaginary wrong way. Yeah. That is Diego. Hobart, Australia. Hello, hello. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Thanks, April. Yeah, I mean, I would just be sitting here doing this anyways. Just I wouldn't be talking out loud as much. I would just be probably watching a floss tube and doing this. So I figured, why not just do it live and see if I can come up with fun things to talk about, which so far tonight, I feel like nothing interesting has happened to me today, so I don't have a lot to say. I should have prepared some topics and thought of some stories from my past that are embarrassing that would make you all chuckle. Oh, that's a good idea, Kathy. I usually just use a stack of books from my entryway, but I'm just using my heavy water bottle for now. Oh yeah, hi Raspberry Stitcher. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so I got that one drying now, and I think this one is mounted and ready to put into its little frame. So I'm going to tilt you guys down and let's work on that. Okay. So also, I really hope you all saw on my Instagram about 5 minutes before I went live, I took a picture of my setup, which is hilariously unprofessional. And at some point, I need to figure out how to do this in a better way, because my computer is sitting on a lap desk on an ironing board. Because I don't know, man. I think I need a second phone. So I have maybe I should have borrowed Rob's phone, and then I could have filmed with a phone and filmed with my phone over here. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out at some point. Oh, here is the tag for these little things, and I'll add this to the description box later, but these are the little frames I'm using. All right. And so this can now be simpler. I am not gluing this in. All I'm doing is pushing this down in the frame. Voila. Isn't that so cute? And then I have this beautiful hand-dyed Dinky Dyes silk ribbon. And yeah, all I did was is just threaded a little piece through this little eye hook on the top of my cross stitch, or am I on top of my frame? I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Like, I know in my head and based on the chat that you guys are sitting there listening to me and I'm not just talking to myself, but it does feel like I'm just sitting here talking to myself, which starts to make me feel a little bit crazy at a certain point, but that's okay. So this is the simplest bow ever. It's just a little basic shoestring bow. And yeah, that's all I do. And then look at that. It's so cute. So let me do the other one. Take the tag off. Push it in. This one's a little more snug. Oh, but perfect. Cut another little piece of ribbon. Trying to unglue my fingers. Okay. Let me just futz with my bows a little bit. Trim these little tails. Oop, knocking things everywhere. Okay, let me lift you guys back up. I think we're done. Here are the two little ornaments I finished. Isn't that cute? I'm so excited. I love these. So I had this one already done. So now I've got 3 of them. Let's see if I can show them all at once. And there we go. And I'm going to hang them all together. And I think they're so stinking cute. Yay. So there is my easy little spring small finish. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm going to hang these up in my entryway, actually, using some little clear push pins. I was talking at the beginning of the video that kind of in my mind, I would love like one of those cool fake branches, like decor branches, but I'd want something I could hang on the wall and then hang these, you know, from it as like almost little like ornaments from the branch. But I haven't found anything. So for now, they're just going to get hung on the wall like this in a little arrangement. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me. This was so much fun. Hopefully I'll be back in a few weeks with another finishing idea that I can do here on live. So I'll see you on Sunday. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.